Hey guys, thank you for checking out this next blog video. First, let me say that those of you who have just recently watched my about MEN video, you saw that I had this cut on my lip there. It's the same cut. This video is recorded on the same day as that video. I just decided to make those changes to that video. I'll make a new video for that section because I think I left some things out and I wanted to be a little bit more personal with what I said there. Okay, moving on. Today's video is about strength and the importance of strength is in healthy masculinity. Now, I know that a lot of sites and a lot of websites and a lot of articles are going to say that strength and toughness is a quality that makes masculinity toxic, and that's just garbage. Let me be honest with you, it's just garbage. It's straight up bullshit. It is. Men need to be strong. Men need to be tough. Men need to be resilient. They need to be prepared for adversity. They do. Because men are expected to handle adversity when it arises. They're expected to step up when their family and loved ones need protected. And strength isn't something that you just flip a switch on. You're either strong or you're not strong. So you need to work on it. It's something you need to work on, just like any other trait, skill, or talent. It's something that you need to work on, and you need to work on daily. You need to live it. It needs to be a lifestyle. Now, let me say this for sure, just to be absolutely clear for those of you that might be thinking this. Being strong doesn't mean not having feelings. Being strong doesn't mean wanting to fight all the time. Being strong doesn't mean being a robot, not having compassion, not being kind. The strongest, toughest guys I know some black belts in jiu-jitsu. I know some Navy SEALs. I know some Green Berets. All the extremely tough badasses. I know several pro athletes, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I was at one time, it was my job to interact with pro athletes, especially NFL players. I'm not going to go into it because legally I'm not allowed to. But anyway, these tough guys that no one should ever mess with, like UFC people, were the most compassionate, kind, level-headed people I've ever met in my life. So it's possible to be extremely strong and tough and still be kind and compassionate. That's possible. But you got to work on it. You have to work on it. Jordan Peterson says, and I know there's a lot of you out there that probably don't see him as a positive influence, but he says that it's important to learn to be an absolute monster, aggressive, incapable of extreme violence, and things like that. But then he goes, then you have to get it under control and keep it under control. Because no man who is incapable of extreme violence is going to be able to protect anybody. You have to be capable of it to protect people from it. You have to be capable of it to know when it's coming. Because you're like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. I've been there. And that's not going to happen to my family. If you don't know the processes, if you don't know the steps or the signs of when violence is coming, by the time you see it, it's too late. So it's important. There's that old saying, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a warrior. Just being prepared. That's what it is. You train to be strong, strong and tough, to be prepared for life's adversity, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones, your girlfriend, your wife, and for society. I say society because there's a lot of people out there who aren't prepared. And it takes the strong and tough, resilient men to step up and say, she or he can't defend itself, but I personally am not going to let you touch them. You are not going to hurt that person. Just because they're weak doesn't mean you get to take advantage of them, and I will not allow it. So that's one reason why strength is important. But the other reason why it's important for men to be strong and tough is because life as a man is filled with adversity. And I'm not saying, to be clear, I'm not saying that there's no adversity. for females, it's just different from men. They say that most men, and this is studies that I've read, most men can go months without getting any real compliments, even from the ones they love. You got to be tough to be able to say, well, no one's telling me I'm good. No one tells me I'm doing great. No one appreciates me. And then still tough to keep going. That's where discipline comes in handy too. You can't perform your duty when it feels like you're not getting appreciated, noticed, all those type of things, no getting compliments. They say that most men receive their first flowers at their funeral. They're saying right now that an average of 1 out of every 4 men that you see in society as you're walking around haven't received affection, intimacy, or sex for over 2 years. 2 years. But even though that's happening, you have to get up. You have to go get your job done. You have to get your duty done. Because the infrastructure in the world, the bridges, the roads, construction, plumbing, sewer work, all those type of things are getting maintained and built by men. We need, as a society, those men, regardless of what's going on in their life, to get up and go get the job done. And the only way you're going to do that is if you're strong, you're tough, and you're disciplined. They are said that, Chris Rock, the comedian, once said in one of his shows that only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. And that's true, because he says also he follows, I know he's not a psychologist, but he is a man. Men are loved on the condition of what they are able to provide society, the family, and life. Now, I personally have felt that on a very real level because I had a job when I was married, and the company I was working for went under. I was out of work for a week. I went to another job doing the same thing. That company went under. And then I went to another job, and that company went under. And after losing jobs through no fault of mine, my wife told me she was going to divorce me because she needed to be with a man that could actually take care of her. It was my fault. My fault that the companies ran into the ground. I had nothing to do with the finances. I was the quality control supervisor and warranty repair guy for these foundation companies. I had nothing to do with the books, the finances, the advertising, or anything. And in fact, I did my job very, very well because people were always looking for me to do the repairs. And then sometimes they would let the repair go undone to the point where people were moving into the house without the repair being done because they didn't want anybody else to do it to me. So I did nothing wrong. But I was unable, in her eyes, unable to take care of her because I kept losing my job. But I wasn't getting fired. This is just an example. Now, she might not be a typical woman. We're not going to get into that. I'm just saying that it happened. And so that's life as a guy, right? You have to be tough. No one's coming to save you. And the other thing is, as men, we tend to think or have the mental process of, he will call me if he needs me. But on the other end, we're saying, I don't want to call him because I don't want to put him out. He's got a lot going on in his life. I will figure this out on my own. But that's not always the answer. Sometimes you do need help. Sometimes you do need to talk things through. But that being said, your friends aren't calling to check on you all the time. And that just because they're doing that doesn't mean they're not good friends. It's just not how the mental makeup of men work. So, do I think that needs to change? I do think that needs to change. If you need help, call. And I have good friends, just a few, maybe a handful, that we can do that with each other all the time. But I think that we need to be able to do that in this network. Anyway, those are just some examples why it's important to be strong and tough as a man. You can't be a protector if you're not strong and tough. You can't handle the way life treats men if you're not strong and tough. And society will fall apart if men aren't strong, tough, and doing the duty that they need to do for society, for their family, and for their loved ones. Let me know your thoughts. Make the comments. And I hope my cut heals soon. Talk to you soon.